In today's video, I'd like to introduce you to a very special guest, Maddie Bruce. Welcome, Maddie.
Thank you.
Maddie, do you want to say something about yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name's Maddie, and I am, I guess, what you would call a content creator. I create content here on YouTube and also on Instagram and TikTok. And it basically came about from my own mental health journey. I started posting things online, and a lot of my content is centered around well-being and mental health.
And Maddie, I know you've subscribed to my channel at Videos by Shania, and you also watch the videos. You know the channel is about mental well-being and developing resilience. And I firmly believe that today, definitely, it's so important that we all look after our own mental well-being. But Maddie, you are a perfect example of how you have used adversity as a platform to transform your life and become successful. So can you tell us a little bit about how you developed this resilience and what worked for you?
Definitely. I think it's so funny because I always think without the adversity that I had faced in the past, I wouldn't have this channel. Now, I wouldn't be sat here with you talking, So although, it's been a long journey, I've been through a lot, I definitely wouldn't change it for the world because it's built me into who I am today. So I first got really unwell about 10 years ago. I mean, it was a kind of thing throughout my childhood, but when I was about 17, I got really, really unwell. And at that point, I knew nothing really about mental health. I didn't know what was happening to me. And I also didn't really want to accept help or better myself. And it took me a long time to come to terms with, the concept of actually working on myself and making things better, because I didn't want to be resilient. I just wanted to stay in that state of depression where I could just hide away in bed all day, So it definitely took me a long time to build up the skills to actually move forward, and it does take time. It takes time to find the right medication, to find the right professional to work with. It found me a while to actually find a psychiatrist who I got on with and who I felt could really help me in my journey. So I just think for me, I mean, it's been all over the place. I think I've just taken it one tiny little step at a time, and just whatever's been thrown at me, I've been I might get knocked down. It might completely take me aback at first, but I'll always try and find a way around, because now I love and have loved learning how my brain works and how I can navigate through things.
I think you've done fantastic, really. As I said, you are a role model, and even I feel inspired by you. We've had a number of discussions about what I call the mind lens, and I've explained to you mind lens is the prism with which we view the world and our experiences. Because so many times we just put so much emphasis on our external world without realizing our own inner world and how we are viewing the experiences. You embarked on this journey of self-improvement and developing yourself as a person, becoming stronger. Again, might be worth explaining how that worked for you. What did the beginning feel like, and what did you find the journey like in understanding your own mind lens?
Yeah, it's so interesting because people always say that recovery isn't linear. When you're recovering from a mental illness, I just always thought you're gonna do some therapy and then I'll be fine. I'll be good for the rest of my life. And I think we all know that is definitely not the case. It's like this. It's ups and downs. So I think my journey of self-discovery has been tough. It's been challenging. It's forced me to change old behaviors. I think that's been one of the main things for me, talking about looking inwards and looking at your mind lens. It's been rewiring my brain to react in a different way, because in the past I would react in a very unhealthy way, which wasn't helpful to me at all. And I think therapy for me, especially CBT and DBT, have helped me kind of just make little tweaks in my brain so that I can do things more productively and move forward.
Would you say it's very different from recovering from a physical illness? For example, when you have an operation, and I think you know my history. I've been through a lot of health problems myself, and it took me some years actually to get back to what you might call normal. And actually, the normal is not the normal that was before, even after a physical health problems. The normal is constantly changing, even if you don't have anything. And would you say that your journey would be any different to physical health problems and rehabilitation from that? And the reason I ask you that is because I think we do pay a lot of emphasis to physical health problems, but often shy away from mental well-being.
Yeah.
So what would your take on that be?
I think that the two can be very, very linked. I mean, even when we're talking about mental illness, there are so many physical symptoms that come along with it.
Exactly.
Exactly. When you're struggling with a physical illness, the mental side of things, you know, takes a toll. So they're all linked. It's so interesting to me. And I like to think that we've made progress in that aspect. I think when I first started making videos, it was about 8 years ago, the mental illness wasn't talked about as much. And it was very much like not treated the same as physical illness. But I like to think we're getting somewhere in that we do take mental illness as seriously. But yeah, I think it is exactly the same, you know, like with physical illness as well. You always want to get to the root cause of why you are hurting in whatever part of your body. I think it's the same with mental illness. You want to get to the root cause of why it is you're in pain mentally, and then go from there.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree with that. And I think it's about destigmatizing mental well-being. We all go to the gym quite happily. In fact, most people's New Year's resolution might be, let's go to the gym and lose weight. And what I'd like to see in the coming years is the first resolution is, well, I'm going to work on my mental resilience and well-being and get to know myself a little bit better. So in terms of top tips, Maddie, what would be your, say, for example, 5 top tips to give people on what they should be thinking about in terms of mental well-being and resilience?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. Okay. Tip number 1, something I always say and something I just said previously in the video, is small steps. Because when you're, you know, recovering from a mental illness, it can seem like a mountain to climb, but I feel like breaking it down into small little steps makes it so much easier. You know, if you have a day where you feel like you can't get out of bed, just focusing on one thing, getting out of bed and maybe having a shower, you know, is better than doing nothing. Number 2, I would say, remember that you're not alone. I definitely felt alone at the beginning of my journey, but I think the reason I make the videos that I do is because I found a community of people that feel the same, and just know that whatever you're going through, you are not alone. Number 3, even when you feel you can't do it, you can. It might just take you a little bit of time. Like for me, when something hits me, when I feel overwhelmed, I do need a little bit of time to wallow in self-pity and do whatever I need to do to just feel sad, to feel depressed, before I actually get up and take action. And that is my tip number 4, is taking action is always better than inaction. Taking messy action is better than no action at all. Like stumbling forward, making mistakes, whatever it is you do, as long as you're just doing something, putting one foot in front of the other, is better than just lying there and doing nothing. And the final one, tip number 5, I would say, is just to be kind to yourself, because I feel like we are always so harsh on ourselves. We put ourselves under so much pressure. I very self-deprecating, so be kind to yourself.
So thank you for joining me, Maddie, and for those of you, we are sitting in a park in London, and it's -2 degrees on this cold, crispy but sunny and beautiful morning. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for watching. So watch my next video here, and if you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel, and of course, like it, share it, tell it to all the people you know.